Hello and welcome to the first game of StarLadder Star Series Season 8 Day 6. And we are here with a game between Empire and aSpera. And I am joined for the first time this season by Kanaz. Welcome back.
Good to be back. Good to be back.
And I believe that after this draft, we are going to have a redraft because this game is actually not in Dota TV.
They messed up setting up the ticket, huh?
Yep, they messed that up.
Sometimes happens with the first game of the day, but not a big deal. We at the very least get the draft done.
Indeed. Yeah, and talking about that draft, I mean, Lich all of a sudden made it through, which is normally a hero that we see banned out a lot. But overall, I have to say I'm not all too surprised by the picks on either side. I really like that aSpera picked up Storm Spirit. Now, lately they've actually not been having Sharvik as Storm Spirit, but I'm really hoping that Sharvik will play the Storm Spirit in this game still.
Yeah, it was, what, Inquisitor that was playing it the other day?
Inquisitor has played it, Wall Eater has played it.
Yeah,
it's,
they moved
yeah,
it around.
Both have. Both have.
Yeah, it's a little unusual that they're, like, kind of swapping up who's playing the hero, especially since Sharvik, it's like one of the heroes he's basically known for, playing that Storm Spirit. Even his icon right now is a picture
his avatar.
So it's a little unusual that they're moving him around, but it is what it is, I guess. Yeah, I agree with you. I hope they'll hand it over to Sharvik, and we can see him kind of roll through a game, get some good kills, and I guess farm going on with that Storm Spirit.
Yeah, so far aSpera, they've played 4 games. They've won 2, they've lost 2, so they're not even doing that bad, but they could be doing better, I think, if Sharvik plays the Storm. Now, on the side of Empire, they've also played a game already, I believe. Yeah, they played 3 games, so they've won 1, and they actually lost 2 games. And they haven't been even going up against the more tougher opponents yet, so that's quite worrisome for them, I feel.
Yeah, I think that's kind of always the case with StarLadder, though. It feels like teams drop games to teams you wouldn't expect, and sometimes they win against teams you kind of would predict they lost against, and we end up with these really complicated standings in the end where there are a lot of ties involved.
5 seconds remaining.
I think StarLadder is probably, like, has its own rare economy thing going on, because you have to be really knowing what's going on with these teams to know if they're gonna win or lose. And I think that if you are, like, really into betting, StarLadder is one of the tournaments that you can get most rares from, because the results are more, like, as you said, I mean, you see teams taking games off teams that you don't expect them to, so, you know, you can get a lot of rares if you actually dive into StarLadder more.
Yeah, and there's always kind of the people like to bet on the teams that they know the name of, they think it's a safe bet, and then all of a sudden a team like Power Rangers comes up and beats Na'Vi in a game, and the odds were hugely in favor of Na'Vi, and you end up hitting the mother load on stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, definitely we see these underdogs take games all the time, especially because they're best of ones throughout the entire group stage.
Yeah, I like the Doom pickup. Inquisitor has played that for aSpera, although Inquisitor, like, with their roster change, because now they've got Cat4KM, who's actually been playing the offlane. Inquisitor has rotated to a more of a support role, so I'm wondering if this is not going to be a Wall Eater Doom, and then Cat4KM playing the Nature's Prophet, and then have a safe trial lane with the Crystal Main Windrunner Doom. Maybe I don't really see Doom working in an aggressive trial lane, but I'm kind of interested about this draft, because I am not sure if Doom can actually outcarry that Lifestealer.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting in that sense that Doom isn't really the greatest of carries. He's really good at sort of taking a carry out of the fight, and with Empire's current lineup, maybe he can try and work that magic and shut down the lifesteal as the fights go on. But we've seen time and time again just how Timbersaw can kind of take over games if he gets farm, and they don't really have a great answer for him at the moment. They don't have a lot of burst damage except for Storm Spirit. And Silencer pick, that's pretty interesting.
It is pretty uncommon as well. We do have everybody disconnecting because we are going to go to the remake, so that people in Dota TV can also watch this game and, of course, get views for their Weaver set. But this looks to be a support Silencer.
Yeah, Vanscore picked him up before the remake, so that's probably going to be the case. Oh. Which one are we going to?
The one where the players are in.
No, someone took our channel.
Someone took our channel. That's 80 Antenna Dota. I don't think they realize how things work yet, so I always find them in different channels. You just have to be faster next time, I guess.
I guess. So yeah, it looked like it was going to be a support silencer, which is kind of really old school Empire, if you want to think of it that way. Months and months ago, when after the changes first sort of came into captain's mode for silencer, Empire liked to try that hero out quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm actually typing to Antenna Dota right now on Skype that they should next time just go to their assigned slots. There we go. Remake for Dota TV. So we're waiting for the last player of Empire because he is, well, you know, people normally go AFK during a draft. I say normally, some people go AFK during a draft, and apparently on the side of Empire, someone did indeed do that. So we have to wait until he's back. So based on based on teams, on paper, it would be Empire that would take this game, I feel. Okay?
Yeah, I think if people were just going by sort of which team they think performs better on average, they would be betting on Empire.
And based
Definitely
on draft,
more
would you say
well-known.
the same?
I think it's kind of hard to say. I'm interested in what aSpera exactly are going to do with their lanes with that. Like you mentioned, the Doom pickup, they don't really have an obvious carry. They do have the Nature's Prophet, who can sort of transition that carry-ish role as the game goes on. Same thing with Storm Spirit and even Doombringer, but none of them are the ones you just think of. You see that hero, they're going to be farming in the safe tri-lane, just trying to get as much gold as possible. I don't know how it's going to end up working out for them if they're going with the tri-lane for Doom. I don't love it. Maybe they could dual lane, but Nature's Prophet doesn't really want the hero with him.
Yeah. Well, perhaps they can dual lane with the Windrunner and Nature's Prophet, or if they really want to be greedy, they could always put Nature's Prophet in the jungle and put Windrunner on the offlane by herself. Or put Windrunner in a farming role on the bottom lane, Doom on the offlane, and Crystal Main roaming around.
They have like they have so many different options. I think they can run this depending on where they want to send the farm. They could run Windrunner in the mid lane, Nature's Prophet off, just jungle the Doom, and then have Storm Spirit in the safe lane if they really wanted to go that route. It's really going to come down to what they think Empire's lanes are going to be.
Yeah.
And I'm talking as we go into Dota TV, so hopefully it doesn't confuse anyone.
Yeah, hello people in Dota TV, welcome to the broadcast as well. And you have already missed the draft, unfortunately. But don't worry, we'll still go over it for you. And we had a bit of a remake as well, so just time to refresh everybody's memories. And also, of course, time to brainstorm a bit more about all the possibilities that these two teams have. Because there are a lot of possibilities here for both teams.
Yeah, I think Empire's lineup's a little more straightforward with what their picks are right now. It looks like support Silencer, support Lich, probably Puck in the mid lane, Timbersaw off lane, and then the farming Lifestealer.
Yeah, and Lich could actually be on the Timbersaw lane as well, if they want to.
Yeah, they could very easily decide to do that if they want to just go for those dual lanes, and that will probably be somewhat reactionary to what aSpera end up going with. They could even run an aggressive tri-lane with these three heroes if they really wanted to try. It's not great. Silencer's kind of a little derpy in those tri-lane versus tri-lane situations, so wouldn't really be a huge fan of it, but Lich does deny experience, and that can really hurt.
Yeah, it definitely hurts, especially against heroes that are kind of level dependent, and aSpera has got two of those, both the Storm Spirit. Lich could be perhaps dual laning, there's a small chance for that, but Doom as well. And even though Doom normally is also one of those heroes that will have a Hand of Midas, slowing him down even more is a pretty big deal. And it looks like we are going to have Wall Eater playing the Doom, so it looks to be support Windrunner off lane, Nature's Prophet. So I guess the most straightforward lineup that you could think of with the heroes that they have is the one that they went for. If they're actually going to run their lanes as a safe tri-lane for around that Doom, that remains to be seen. And actually, thank you, they just swapped heroes. That's confusing. Wall Eater will play the Windrunner instead. And Inquisitor will play the Doom.
So does that mean they're gonna jungle the Doombringer, send Nature's Prophet offlane, have a farming Windrunner?
Well, this Doom doesn't necessarily look like a jungle Doom, but he could be. I mean, he is moving towards where he would be. Let's take a look at who is playing what. I'll start on Empire, just in case aSpera is going to change it around again, because everybody who's Empire has actually rotated into the Radiant jungle, not finding anybody, but nonetheless, we've got Mag playing the Timbersaw, Resolution on his Puck, Vanscore playing his support Silencer with Silent on the Lifestealer as a carry, and last but not least, it is Always Wanna Fly playing a support Lich. So far on the bottom lane, we'll start with denying a creep on that lane.
Yeah, and it looks like aSpera, they're going to be stuck with what they have now. We have Blabafu going to be playing the Crystal Main down that bottom lane. It looks like Wall Eater will be farming on that Wind Ranger, excuse me. Sharpik going to be in the middle lane, taking up the Storm Spirit, so happy to see that.
Yeah.
And Inquisitor going to be on the Doombringer. I kind of imagine he's got to be jungling. He picked up Devourer, and he is in that region, so maybe he's hoping to get lucky with what creep spawns. And finally the off lane. That's going to be Cat for Cam on the Nature's Prophet.
Yeah, still slightly greedy, I find, with the Doom in the jungle, but I feel maybe they are forced into that position because overall, with that Lich, you need to be finding your farm somewhere, and getting that extra farm in the jungle is something that you can take that Empire is not going to get because they don't have anybody in that jungle, and might be just what they need. So if that Doom works out, that's going to be okay. In the meantime, Mag gets harassed here a lot. Level 1 only for everybody, and actually with Mag picking up the Whirling Death first, there's nothing really that will keep him up in terms of having that reactive armor, but I'm expecting him to get that at level 2, so he'll be able to tank up those hits a bit more.
Yeah, this is a lane that starts off kind of favoring Nature's Prophet, but as the levels start coming out, Timbersaw is going to be a hugely advantage. Nature's Prophet can't really even harass Timbersaw once he gets those points in reactive armor. I think all of the lanes are actually going to look really good for Empire. We see a lot of harass going on Wall Eater in the bottom lane on Wind Ranger. He's not really getting anything right now, and Empire did choose to run that aggressive tri-lane. I don't think that's particularly surprising, considering how it looked. Someone says I don't have audio in Dota TV. Interesting.
Oh, okay.
I'll work on fixing that in a second.
Okay.
But yeah, the aggressive tri-lane comes out. I don't think it's really surprising because they probably saw this Doom pick and expected he was going to be down here tri-laning with these heroes.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out that way, but it's still going to be very powerful and shut down their farm, and they can rotate into that jungle to try and deal with Inquisitor as the game goes on.
Yeah, I love that aggressive tri-lane. Forces Inquisitor to not really farm as much as he has actually picked up a haste. If they can actually make a stand here on this bottom lane by getting a kill or of some sort, then they would be okay. But for now, they're forced out of their jungle, forced to be on the lane, and they're not really getting that much in return for it because there's only one last hit for this Wind Ranger so far, while Silent is just happily farming away, sitting on 12-4. Mid lane has Resolution also doing okay here. It's a bit of a skill matchup. We see this matchup more often. The one thing that you have to watch out for, of course, later on is that there will be a silence on the Puck, and he will, of course, should be able to win the lane from Sharpik because of that silence. We've got 15 for 4 for now for Sharpik, though, with Resolution sitting on 12 for, or 11 for 2. And of course, I mean, it is a Sharpik storm. Wait a second, Wall Eater will have a curse on him. The open wound's already slowing him down. His wind run already over, and he should be dying. There we go. Vanscore will take the first blood here on the bottom lane. Supports of aSpera very far away.
Yeah, it's just that harass has been coming out constantly onto the Wind Ranger. He's trying to get whatever farm he can. He hasn't had any success, and now giving up first blood as well. It's just things not going good to start off the game for aSpera. They are getting far in the middle and top lane, but I kind of expect it, particularly in the top lane, to start swinging in favor of Empire as the game goes on. Yeah. Mid lane can kind of be a wash.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that the Sharpik Storm Spirit, that's going to be their way back into this game, because if you continue this way for the next 10 minutes or so, they're not going to be able to stand up against Empire because the Timbersaw will be too tanky. I mean, right now he's still not out farming Catch for KM, but he is still getting the levels and he's still getting very tanky, and you're still going to have a tough time trying to kill him off later on. And Lifestealer is of course farming decently. Lich is getting that extra experience with his sacrifice, as we do have a lot of pings coming off. Perhaps they want to try and take down this Lich. He is making his way middle. We also have got the Doom coming around. In comes the Frostbite. Nature's Prophet teleporting in. Always want to fly. Yep. Nicely picked up.
Yep, so they get a free kill there on the Lich. I'm kind of surprised that they rotated down Cat for Cam. I think maybe they were expecting to be able to grab another kill there, perhaps on Vanscore, but they don't get anything else out of it. And now Cat for Cam might be in trouble. They're going to teleport out. And of course, there are no disables at all in this Empire tri-lane, so it's real easy to just teleport away.
The only thing that they can count on, oh Crystal Main, you're so dead, is well, next to the slows, of course. Once always want to fly reaches level 6, he'll have his mini stun when he lets out his Chain Frost. But yeah, that's the only thing next to the Dream Coil from the puck.
Yeah, the 145-second TP breaker.
Yep.
Yeah, so they're gonna have trouble with the TP scrolls, but they do have a lot of burst damage between the Frost Nova and just the amount of damage Vanscore can put on the support silencer. So these squishy arrows like Crystal Maiden, even Wind Ranger, unless Warrior eventually gets items, are gonna go down pretty quickly.
Yeah, especially if you're imagining that silencer already has stolen 4 intellect. Well, that's gonna be going well for him. Because I mean, yeah. Support silencer, it's one of those kind of heroes that if a game lasts long enough and you are playing in a team that is fairly active on the map and normally likes to get a lot of kills, you're gonna get a lot of experience or a lot of intellect extra to your name, and that's gonna be helping you to rotate more into more of a semi-carry rather than a support. And the silencer is definitely a hero that, under the right circumstances, can be very scary, regardless of the amount of farm he actually gets.
Yeah, and I think it's actually interesting that we're kind of in this era right now where supports are getting a lot more farm than they did previously.
Yeah.
And Silencer's definitely the sort of hero that can benefit from getting that extra farm as a support, because he can transition to a carry-ish right-click attack damage role as the game goes on. And like you said, particularly if he's involved in kills and steals a ton of it.
Yeah, we've got the Storm Spirit level 6, so I'm expecting Sharflick to soon make something happen, and maybe Resolution is feeling that right now, but always want to fly, setting up that high ground, making sure that Resolution will be safe. Sharflick did not see that the Lich was there, but I think that because Always Want to Fly was there, he didn't continue going on that. On the other side, Resolution is also level 6, so he has got his Dream Coil, and perhaps he in turn wants to make something happen with that one.
Yeah, he could try and move down to this bottom lane probably if he wants to make something go. He could also try and kill Cat for Cam in the top lane. If they get him in a good position, they can certainly take him down. They can hang on to that Dream Coil to try and break his teleport if he goes for it. He does have phase boots though on that Nature's Prophet, so he's a little bit fast. He might be able to just escape. I don't know if they're going to have a ton of success with that. Meanwhile, bottom lane, still the farm is just going the way of Silent. He's getting a ton in this bottom lane, and we've seen Wallyer's up to 10 CS, which is significantly better than he was doing, but still being quadrupled by the Lifestealer.
Yeah, 10 CS, I mean, it's a bit painful at this moment. I mean, the supports really can't make anything happen. On top of that, if Crystal Maiden was getting decent farm in the jungle, or at least decent levels in the jungle, that would be decent, but no, she's not getting that either. She's still level 3. We do have the Doom rotated top. He has got level 4 only, though. And soon they'll be up against Resolution level 7. In they go. Storm here as well, though. And it's gonna be first the Doom that dies. Cat for Cam drops as well. Sharfrick might be able to turn this one around, but he is by himself up against 2. Resolution will be his first target, but the Chakram is there. The Silencer is there. Crystal Maiden might try to help out, but the Orb will fly, and a double kill for Resolution comes his way. It is a 3-4-0 exchange. Ouch.
Yeah, and both teams kind of had the same idea there to gank the top lane where their respective offlaners are. But right now, the farm advantage is going the way of Empire. They have this really strong support in the form of Silencer. He's out-leveling the opposing team's Doom at the moment. So, or I guess they're the same level now, but that Silencer was just able to go up there and do a bunch of damage. Resolution, of course, he's a high level in mid lane.
Oh, almost want to fly, stuck on the Sprout. That will be at least a kill going the way of aSpera. But they couldn't get Resolution. He still also had some 6 charges for himself. Nice pickup though. They really needed something after that Massacre top, because I mean that was, like you said, that was also the first rotation of Storm Spirit, and he didn't get anything. He was alive for a long time, and then you've got yourself a Nature's Prophet up against a Timber Saw, and of course Timber Saw is way more tanky, so Nature's Prophet dropped real fast, and we might have Resolution on the hunting path. He is actually just passing a Crystal Maiden, goes for the Wind Ranger instead. So Wall Eater might be in some trouble. Lifestealer does have his open wounds, goes for it. The rage, the open wounds, the silence. That's gonna be another pickup going the way of Resolution, I would say, if he indeed gets it. The salve. Dream Coil. Yeah, there we go. Zip in from Sharpic still with the Vortex. Silent. He goes down here. That's gonna be a kill that actually turns that exchange in favor of aSpera. Nicely done. Good response.
Yeah, they end up going sort of even, just the 1-for-1, and they're kind of both their carries, I guess. They were both farming in their respective sort of safest lanes, but Wall Eater's not getting very much and is kind of underleveled in the Wind Ranger, whereas Silent is getting all of the farm he could possibly want and is a very high level, so definitely a good kill for aSpera to be able to pick up there, and they need to get more kills like that, because they're not really doing so hot in the farm war at the moment.
Not at all. We have Inquisitor actually trying to get some extra farm here in the middle lane, because otherwise, you know, where is he gonna get it? Because the jungle is not fast enough for him. They've left the top lane alone completely. Silent is now farming there by himself, so that's kind of scary if they leave him on, and he has a Hand of Midas. And that's the only hand... Oh, no, Nature's Prophet just finished his Hand of Midas as well, so that will be good for him. Sharpic and Inquisitor, though, have got a Doom, and I think they, like the spell Doom that is, they want to try and take Silent, but he rages. Global Silence even comes out, and that will be Silent home safe.
Yep, so nothing really coming from that one, and we're seeing Sharpic move around a lot, and he's trying to make things happen, but if he's not really succeeding in getting these kills, he's going to have to turn back to focusing on farming. Sorry. Otherwise, he might end up in a little bit of trouble as he starts to fall behind. No big deal.
Again, normally, like, I have a microphone that doesn't pick up sounds, like, around me, but only in front of me. Well, that was the cat standing in front of me, complaining about his lack of attention. Mag, frostbitten, but he should be able to get himself out. Ooh, Nature's Prophet ultimate does actually a lot of damage. Cat for Kim coming in. Mag can try to turn this around. Will be the one to drop. No, did do a lot of damage to Cat for Kim. He was full health when he joined that lane.
Yeah, that reactive armor being surprisingly powerful as the auto attacks they were using to finish him off just really weren't doing anything. Meanwhile, top lane, Vanskor gets picked off by Storm Spirit, but it looks like Sharpic is in some trouble here. Oh, he should be able to get away. Yeah,
he's got himself the mana again. There we go. In comes the teleport. They sprout up Silent. Can they Vortex him as well? The zip forward. The Vortex, the fist out though. Silent goes for Sharpic. One more hit. He gets it. Still goes down for it, but in the end, a decent trade, as that Storm Spirit is the only thing at this moment that keeps aSpera in the game. Puck goes down in the middle lane. We're still following Cat for KM though, who is looking for a Lich. Can't find it. Well, they get Puck middle, which is very, very decent, and it makes Sharpic dying a bit less bad.
Yeah, it's a lot of heroes getting solo experience on the side of aSpera all of a sudden. That solo kill in the mid lane for Doom got him quite a few levels. He's up to level 8 now. Nature's Prophet got solo XP for the kill on Nakes. That puts him to 11. True. So we're starting to see these levels pile up on the side of aSpera, and they went from being pretty far behind to maybe even taking a little bit of a lead here.
Yeah, look at the golden experience graph. Both are now back towards the 0 line and even slightly above it. And highest level in the game is actually the Nature's Prophet. Hand of Midas does have quite of an impact for that one, of course. But yeah, that's pretty decent. Having his level 2 ultimate that he sends through, he actually might be trying to come in on the bottom lane if they're looking to fight. We haven't seen that much of. Oh, nice snipe from Wall Eater. I really thought they were gonna get that denied. But we haven't seen that much of Wall Eater just yet. He hasn't left his lane yet. He's been involved in 3 kills, but of course he's also died twice. And he might be needed middle, by the looks of it. Inquisitor, Lich ultimate's gonna be only on him though, and he is gonna be picked up. Sharpic jumps himself in, the global silence comes out. Sharpic still going for Always Wanna Fly, gets him as well. Now has the curse. The silence is over. He gets silenced straight away by Vanskor himself though, and he should be getting away. Zips himself back towards getting the Timber Saw. Nicely done. In the end, very much worth it for aSpera. Wall Eater here as well. You even got an assist for that last skill. And they might get resolution. Oh, yeah. There we go. Still gets a silence up on Sharpic, who has to be careful. One curse from Vanskor, who did the job, but he came too far forward. Gets sprouted up. The right-click damage from Cat for KM should be enough. One more hit. There we go. No, the stick charges keep him up, and it is Cat for KM that dies instead. So many kills happening all the time, but every time, or at least every time, the last few times, aSpera has been able to get the towers as well, and those are the first 2 towers that dropped. And they are actually starting to get some more map control at this point.
Yeah, they're able to take the tower. They come out ahead on kills being traded in that mid lane, and they got down both the Timber Saw and the Puck in that little bit of game-injury. Going silent as well. Doom going to be used. Sharvik's low on health though, and he's going to drop.
Yeah, he is. That was a bit greedy. They will get silent in return, so that's nice enough, but I don't think that Sharvik should have thrown his life away for that one.
I think they weren't expecting the always want to fly to be there in the Lich, and just a little bit of additional damage was all they needed to take down Sharvik, and if he didn't initiate with the invis, they really didn't have the kill.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so indeed. Inquisitor has his mechanism ready. Let's take a look at more items, as we haven't done that just yet. We almost have the drums ready up on Storm. Actually, he has it ready in his bank. We have the Force Staff in the face for the Windrunner, the Force Staff in the face for the Nature's Prophet as well. And the only thing that Nature's Prophet has more is, of course, that the Hand of Midas. So Wall Eater doing a good job on getting back into this game, considering how bad his farm was at the early levels. On the other side, we do have the Blink Dagger and Resolution, so that's quite a big deal right there. And of course, also Silent has been farming quite decently. He has almost finished up his armlet, I'd say, as we have a smoke up for Mag and Resolution. But they're not going in.
Yeah, they're kind of just walking around towards the bottom lane. Nature's Prophet is there. They can try and go for that kill. So maybe they'll be able to get it. If the two of them catch him by surprise, it should be a pretty easy kill. He's got less than 1,000 health. But Cam should be aware that they're missing and that he's going pretty far out.
I think he's hoping that they're top.
It looks like he waited too long, yeah.
Yep,
in trouble
silence stop. That's going to be Cam force staffing himself into safety, but oh, teleport out, and they can't do anything against this. Or unless they can kill him off before he teleports out. Ooh, global silence coming out for the top lane fight. Sharvik, Force Staff, is it gonna save his life? Nope, it's not. It is not. And Mag, top lane already. Lich Ultimate still bouncing around, doing quite a bit of damage to Inquisitor, and Mag is looking to finish that one off. The Shackle still latches on Vanscore, but that's the only thing. The open wounds on Inquisitor will slow him enough for Mag to pick him up. The pause comes out. Well, that's awkward timing. As Vanscore is the one to have lag. Well, it is Empire that is the one to pause this. There's 2 heroes left alive for aSpera, and one of them is in the danger zone, which is Wall Eater right now.
Yeah, very, very big fight going the way of Empire up in this top lane. They get that kill in the bottom lane, Nature's Prophet. Both heroes are able to just teleport in, and with that global silence, they're able to set up the kill on Sharvik. And once he goes down, it's kind of hard for aSpera to really take a fight at this stage of the game. They don't have the Nature's Prophet for the ult damage or just him being involved. And if Sharvik's down, they don't have really any initiation of any sort, so they're on the back foot running away. The pause is going to lead to a disengage. I think Wall Eater was probably safe at that point anyway. A lot of spells had already been thrown by Empire.
Yeah. Most of it was used on Sharvik earlier. Well, it looks like Empire is marching on towards maybe their first tower, but aSpera is not giving up just yet, and with power shots coming out from Wall Eater and Nature's Prophet respawning again, they can't actually get this. They might just have won themselves a big fight. They were able to kill 3 of aSpera, but they don't get any map control for it, and perhaps it is aSpera that tries to turn this around again.
Yeah, their heroes aren't particularly great at pushing. They can clear creep waves moderately fast between Puck and Timbersaw, but most of them don't do a ton of right-click damage at the moment. Getting the free pickup on Lich. Always want to fly, just spending way too much time alone in the jungle. Sharvik had respawned, and you have to know that you're not safe there anymore.
Nope. And the rest of his team was already mid anyways. They are looking to finally take down a tower. Maybe Sharvik is going to try to make something happen. He is on the high ground. They do have a fortification actually, so perhaps they want to force out a fight. Nature's Prophet can teleport in when he wants to, and Doom is on his way. But Empire backed themselves off, wisely so. But still, they can't fight the map control that they want to have, and I'm kind of worried that they're losing too much by these. Like they just did a 5-man rotation mid, 4 men, because of course I was dead. They took half the tier 1 tower, but that's actually, you know, nothing that you can actually hold on to. No extra gold that they get from that rotation, and I'm wondering if they're not wasting too much time in that kind of rotations.
Well, they're not having a ton of success now, but weakening these towers makes it so when they do, if they win more team fights as the game goes on, they'll be able to actually take them pretty easily. Always want to fly running into Inquisitor, but it looks like both are not willing to take that fight in the jungle.
Yeah, just pinging out where they are, where they all are. Blah blah foo looking to play as a very aggressive ward here. I like it. I like the warding coming out of aSpera. I mean, the sentry ward now clears out the one that was warded earlier, the one where they picked up the lich, but other than that, there's some nice aggressive wards coming out from aSpera, and I think that's really needed as well, because that's the kind of game that they have locked themselves into with the Storm Spirit there. They need to be able to find pickups with Sharvik. That's the game he normally plays, that's why he's a fun Storm Spirit to watch. And those wards do fit with that quite nicely. Resolution, by the way, infested at the moment.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised aSpera aren't moving around trying to force fights right now. They went for this sort of team fight oriented Doom build where he picked up arcane boots mechanism, and now it looks like he's going back for a pipe. This is not like really the typical Doom build where you're kind of massing armor and you just want to run in and hit people basically. This makes him a little bit better at team fighting if that's all your plan is going to be, but he doesn't have the carry potential that a Doom might have with some other items.
Yeah, and even though it was a safe lane Windrunner, I mean, she's not gonna have that carry potential either. I mean, there's no way right now, or at least not in the next 10 minutes or so, and that actually kind of worries me. Because Lifestealer is, I mean, we haven't seen too much of him, but, you know, he's sitting inside a resolution right now, and he's actually going on the Doom. Open wounds, the silence, it's enough, they get him, the Dream Coil comes out, perhaps get a Crystal Main with that. Nice attempt for still getting some damage out with his freezing field, but Vanscore still get a double kill. Sharvik, ooh, ha, jumped themselves into 4 heroes. Well, that's not where he wanted to be, that's why he zipped out straight away. The global silence now used. Perhaps that is their cue to go in, but I mean, it just worries me that it's a Lifestealer carry who's doing quite nice up against what, actually? What's gonna be the carry that aSpera is gonna try to go for?
Yeah, aSpera really just don't have much of a carry. They went for this odd build on Doom. He picked up a plate mail now too after the cloak, so he's not even going straight for the pipe. I'm not really sure what he's building with these items. And Sharvik's getting kind of chased down, but they don't have that carry potential. They're going to have to group up and start taking fights, and that's hard. Global silence from Silencer is a real powerful spell, especially against some of these heroes like Windrunner, like Storm Spirit, who want to be throwing out a lot of spells during the fight.
Ooh, Mechanism coming in just in time to save that Crystal Maiden, or at least buy some time. And that is going to be Resolution doomed up. Crystal Maiden might have still have died, but Resolution dies as well. Maybe aSpera can turn this around. They already taken down the Lich as well. We have a Shackle that doesn't latch. Wall Eater trying to go for something here, but Mag is just too damn tanky. Sharvik very low, has to back himself out. Cat for KM was a bit too far in, goes down as well. His ultimate's still bouncing around, but he makes it end into a 2-for-2 trade. And I'm actually thinking that it could have ended in a 2-for-1 trade in favor of aSpera. With that Mechanism coming out from Inquisitor, that was perfect timing to save the Crystal Maiden for a little while longer.
Yeah, I think the Crystal Maiden was always just gonna die no matter what. The mech made Empire commit a little bit longer and really set up that kill on Resolution. I think he might have been able to just escape if they hadn't had that mech right when they had it. But in the end, it still ends up being just an even trade effectively. And aSpera don't really come out ahead. Lifestealer got a kill, survived. Sharvik didn't really get much done, and I guess he's sort of their best hope for carry in this game. aSpera really need to make something happen here. Otherwise, this weird, kind of unconventional lineup and definitely unconventional item build is going to come back to bite them.
Yeah, I mean, they maybe can try to bank a bit on the split push of a Nature's Prophet. But if you then also have a Puck and a Lifestealer that will infest and jump around, that split push is not going to be as safe as you might want it to be. And I indeed feel that because of that, they are under a bit of a time strain here. But they're not seeming to make any efforts yet to make that change. And to be honest, they're still holding on to all their towers because, again, the tier 1 tower middle did not go down. We have Lifestealer sitting inside Resolution again. See if they can make something happen this time. Bottom lane might have a Mag. No, it's fine. Looks like Wall Eater is going for a Scythe of Ice. Same thing as the Nature's Prophet, actually.
Well, initiation from Sharvik. He's not going to catch anything, and now he's silenced.
Yeah, the Dream Coil coming out on 2. Sharvik should still be able to make it out. The force of helping him out with Inquisitor, though. When he pops his mech, but I don't know why he went back in there. Shackle doesn't latch. I think I've seen very little Shackles latch, to be honest. Open wounds for Wall Eater still there. He doesn't have his Force Staff anymore. And Storm Spirit also with the Force. Everybody has got a Force Staff in this team.
Yeah, I think they're grabbing Force Staves just mostly to counter the Nakes. And also the silence in general. A lot of their heroes, like Storm Spirit in particular, are relying on that his ult to get away. And if you have the Force Staff, you can just move through the silences. But it's not working out super great for them. Doom dies again. I don't know if he had to, but he guaranteed that Sharfik was going to survive by running in there and just trying to play the distraction game, be in their way. And if they're playing the game for Sharfik to sort of be their carry hero, then that becomes a good trade, but I don't know if that's still the best option.
Nope. 4 Force Staffs. Tier 2 tower top dies. I think deny or not, I think it's a pretty good thing for aSpera to have that down, because split pushing now actually becomes an option with that tier 3 tower. Because we have got a smoke up from aSpera. They zip in, try to go for Mag, but he has got himself a Timber Chain. Or never mind, he is doomed up, can't go anywhere. We have the Centaur Stomp actually helping Mag out for a little bit, but only for a short while. That's going to be a kill for Inquisitor. Force Staff over the high ground. Gonna catch Always Wanna Fly in a Sprout, and that's going to be another death going the way of Empire, who now are kind of 2 men down and will lose their tier 2 mid.
Yeah, we're going to see a push come out here, and they should be able to take this tier 2 down pretty quickly. Resolution is hanging out on the puck, but I don't think he's going to be aggressive enough to think he should go in here. And yeah, that's another tower going the way of aSpera. They are having some success with the pushes, but that was just really a tower trade. Lifestealer was able to pick up the bottom tier 1. It's not an even trade by any means, but at least Silent was able to get something out of that, because his team was way out of position with those 2 deaths.
Yeah. I fully agree. We have actually got the gold graph still very close at that 0 line. It's only 4k difference. We're 25 minutes in, so this is not really all that much. Experience graph, same story. 2,500 actually in favor of Empire, but that's, I mean, at this point you can basically not count that difference in, because it's just too even. And I mean, you can see that in the levels as well. Everybody is level 11 or higher.
Yeah, the experience difference is pretty big right now, just for how it's going. I guess it's not actually that big. Everyone just in the game is very high level. The gold graph, though, is almost entirely tower gold on the side of aSpera.
Yeah.
They have, what, a 3 tower lead right now? 2 tier 2s and 1 tier 1. So
Yep.
It's a pretty substantial tower deficit that Empire are working with here, and if they're able to start taking bigger and bigger fights, they can really quickly take a gigantic advantage as they clear off those towers off the map.
Indeed. I think also one of the things that we have to watch out for is Roshan soon, as we're reaching that point where both teams could try and take that. We actually have got a smoke up for Empire. Everybody of Empire smoked up. Lifestealer infested inside of Puck again. And perhaps they can find themselves Wall Eater, even though aSpera has also smoked up. Resolution jumps himself in. Nice Dream Coil up into the Global Silence coming out as well. Wall Eater will be the first one to drop, and the ult of Lich seemingly still bouncing towards, I don't know where actually, went away. Inquisitor will drop, in comes a freezing field. Blah blah Fu will be punished for that though. 3 for 0, as Sharfik will get himself out. Where on earth did Lich ulti go to?
I think it went up on the cliff following Sharfik. Sharfik went up on top of this like ward spot. Yeah, I think it just went up here and then kind of disappeared from that point. But that was a great initiation from Empire. We could see that the gold advantage was on aSpera's side, but when you get that great initiation like that, they had the damage from Timbersaw coming off, the Dream Coil hit on at least 3 heroes. If that global silence had been just like a half second sooner from Vanscore, they would have been able to pick up Sharfik as well, and that team fight would have been just amazing. As it stands though, still a 3 for nothing.
Yeah, and I mean, that I think that jump in, they weren't really expecting there to be so many heroes, because it was only Wall Eater that showed himself that wasn't smoked up, and the rest was smoked. So pretty nicely done. They will take Roshan off the back of that one, so we'll have an Aegis for the next fight. And I think from this point onward, there's going to be a clear advantage for Empire. I mean, it hasn't been that much in favor of any particular team, but with an Aegis in the hands of Silent, he is starting to get real scary. Look at the experience graph drop, and that's actually a pretty big drop. 7,500. I mean, we just said that everybody was kind of high level. Well, that means that Empire just kind of killed off 3 heroes that are fairly high level, and that shows a lot.
Definitely, and they took Roshan to get a little bit more gold that way. There's almost no gold lead on aSpera's side, even with the tower advantage that they have at the moment. It's getting worse and worse, and again, Lifestealer is pretty big here. He's got Sanjin Yasha, Armlet, and Phase Boots at this point. Now he's got an Aegis to go with it. And Silencer, 24 intelligence stolen at this point in the game. He's starting to hit very hard when he has those Glaives of Wisdom on. So it's I don't know how this is going to go for aSpera if they keep losing fights the way the last one went.
Yeah, at least the one thing that they still have is seemingly control over the map, but that's because of their aggressive wards. They've got one in the middle lane and one on the high ground here around the top lane, so that's really helping them out. And I think what they just need to do is split push. I mean, where is the damage? If there is a big 5-on-5 team fight, who is gonna do the damage? If there's BKBs around, we do have a side of Vice on Nature's Prophet, and his right clicks might be decent.
Resolution's gonna find Blabafoo.
Yeah. That's a Crystal Maiden. So sad. But yeah, I mean, I think that's something that they can, like, they can do every time. They can gank people, they can win the team fights, Empire that is. And I feel that right now, if aSpera want to win, they have to get it from their split push. Or perhaps from catching Empire off guard.
aSpera definitely has some good split pushing with Nature's Prophet, and even Storm Spirit to some extent can try and help with that, clearing off waves in particular, even if he's not the best at necessarily auto-attacking towers down. But I don't know if Empire are going to just let that happen. We're getting to the point where they're getting pretty big, and they're very, very good at picking off a hero like Nature's Prophet very quickly. He has a Scythe of Eyes, but it doesn't give him that much survivability, and with the Blink and Infest combo of Puck and Nakes, he's going to go down before he can really do anything.
What do you suggest that aSpera builds right now? Because I'm looking at the Doom, and I'm seeing him with, you know, just a bit of everything. Before, like, not really finishing up any item just yet, but looks right now that he wants to have a BKB. But I mean, I would kind of like to see the Doom being the one to build for the damage. Have something even maybe like just the damage. Maybe an Assault Caress, but
it's really hard to figure out what Inquisitor is doing with his item build this game. I thought Pipe was going to be his option. They were going to go mass team fight. Then they sort of killed that plan maybe, and I think it's an aggressive plan anyways. Empire is very good team fight between Silencer, Puck, and Lich. Just all of those three of those heroes are amazing in team fights right now. Then he goes back, grabs a plate mail because he realizes Nakes is wrecking him, and now he's going for BKB because he figures magic sucks, which is probably a fair thing to think. He takes a lot of damage from all the spells that are coming off from Empire and wants to be able to survive long enough to at least cast Doom. But it ends up him looking really silly, where he just doesn't have any completed items and he's not having the impact he needs to in these fights. I think BKB's right, but if he wanted to go for it, he probably should have done it earlier.
Yeah, I agree. And he doesn't have a Hand of Midas, so he can't really farm that fast, even though he has got Devour. It feels a bit off for me for aSpera. It feels like they had a plan, realizing it wasn't working, and now they're trying to search for a better one, but haven't really decided on one yet, as they will be able to defend at least their tier 1 tower top. I mean, that's one thing that they still have going for them, those towers. They are still ahead in towers. They are actually 3 towers ahead, which is quite decent. But if you are 3 towers ahead, you'd expect yourself to be about 4,500 gold ahead. And they are actually around the 0 line at this point, so not really going all too great for aSpera, as we I think we already pointed out, but they need to try and make things happen. Still, they are the ones to be the most aggressive, or maybe they want to wait until they have the BKB ready up on the Doom. But I mean, it's only gonna get harder for the Doom to get his spells off. If the spells are actually all they want to be doing damage-wise, then they have to do it now before BKBs on Lincoln Spheres are off, as Timbersaw almost has his Lincolns ready. Timbersaw
Well, they're going on that. He's gonna die, yeah.
Yeah. I was wondering, like, I had Timbersaw selected, and all of a sudden, like, he's dropping health and he turns into a Pictus. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, their mass scythes are actually coming out right now on the side of aSpera Gaming, and that is a pretty powerful thing for them to be getting. They're going to get the 3rd in the near future on Sharpic, and while you're just going to get killed.
Yeah.
Which is sad, to say the least. Not actually sure why Wall Eater went in that far.
Ooh, they really tried to stop the teleports there, but Resolution using his Dream Coil on nothing. And everybody gets himself out, it's nice. It just shows how scared aSpera is.
Well, aSpera really can't try and take a team fight head on anymore. I think they've experienced how that's gone enough times in this game. They need to get some big items up, and best of all, picks. they can use these scythes that they're getting on their heroes to just get some easy, clean kills before they start the fight, especially on key heroes like Puck or Silencer, they can then try to take the fight.
Yeah. Good luck trying to do that. The ganks coming out from Empire now are making sure that aSpera can't really put any plan in motion. Even if they had a plan, even if they wanted to go for smokes, you know, you only want to be smoking if you know that you can be there with 5 people, and that hasn't been the case for a while because people have been picked off left and right with the infest bombs coming out from Resolution and Silent, and it is starting to get quite scary. We actually have Resolution picking up an ultimate orb. Looks like everybody wants to have a Linken's in this game. That would be so annoying if you were Doom. Everybody with the Linken's. Have to wait until Linken's is ticked off.
The real scary thing is with the way Linken's works now, they can just keep tossing it on the Nakes, and they're not going to be able to reliably Doom Nakes to start the fight and take him out that way. And if Nakes gets really big, and they can no longer rely on Doom to bring him down or even initiation with a scythe, it's gonna be kind of hard for them to pick him off and take him out of the fight the way they want to.
Yeah. They just profit, BKB. That's our first one, or did Doom already have his? No, Doom did not have his.
Inquisitor's still kind of flailing about, not really picking up any items. He's getting close to the BKB though, and that'll be a pretty big pickup for him as well. He wants to be able to get that Doom off in the fights. There's just so many good targets for it, and being able to stop them before they get their big ults off is obviously going to be huge. If it's eventually going to come down to team fights, it feels like. I'm not sure they're going to have the success they want to with split pushing. Nature's Prophet really hasn't gone a strict split pushing build, like building a Necro or anything. Fight in the top lane maybe?
Yeah, they hex up Silent, but instantly comes the global silence and just stops everything. Oh, Sharpik jumps himself in, gets killed off straight away with the hex being there. Resolution still doomed up, but Inquisitor's the one to fall. And Crystal Maiden will, yeah, you know, I appreciate her efforts. Ooh, Sharpik actually bought back. He is not allowed to die again. Gets forced out into safety. Still not safe though. Still silenced up. Oh my god, Vanscore. One hit, he takes away about, what was it, almost 10% of the health of Sharpik. One left alive for aSpera. Nature's Prophet will try to teleport himself back to base, and should be doing that indeed with the BKB on, but he's the only one left alive. They only got Silent, and there was a Storm Spirit that died, but back, and then died again. And I mean, Vanscore, 32 intellect. Holy crap.
Certainly a large amount of intelligence that Vanscore has been able to pick up at this point, and you're right, he's just hitting so very hard right now. That fight went from bad to worse very, very quickly for aSpera. Sharpik just went in, I think he wanted to deny on the tower.
Yeah.
He gets immediately hexed by Resolution. It was so fast that it feels like Resolution had to have already clicked on it before he went the ball, and just immediately got hexed when he was out of it. Leads to his death, he buys back and dies again. That gives them 2 towers instead of just the 1, as well as a ton of kills, and just a huge advantage is now going the way of Empire.
Yeah, I hadn't looked at the graphs for a short while, and all of a sudden it went from 0, when that was the last time I looked, to 7,500 in favor of Empire. An experience graph is even past around the 2.5 or 25k experience in favor of Empire. That results into level 19s, level 21s, with the lowest levels of aSpera still level 14 and 11. That's a big difference right there.
The level difference is just becoming huge at this point, and these team fights keep going the way of Empire. Just on the back of skills, it feels like Resolution might actually get picked off here.
Yeah, Sharpik, he wanted to go for it. He gets hexed up now though, and in comes Silent with the Abyssal Blade, but the Force Staff will keep Sharpik safe for a little while. Always when a fly gets picked up, at least it looks like aSpera manages to get themselves back on this board. They take down the Lifestealer with the help of the Doom, and they're looking for Mac. Can't find him though, he timber chains himself away. But they will get Roshan off the back of this, it looks. And that would be very much needed. They need some kind of boost to be able to continue to be in this game.
They have the buyback on Nakes. It looks like they don't really want to expend it here, so they are going to just give away Roshan. That's definitely good for aSpera. If not because they're going to be able to utilize the Aegis effectively, then just because they're going to prevent Empire from getting it.
Yeah.
And giving another Aegis to Nakes is probably a terrible plan at this point. They basically have to use Doom on him if they want to get him killed in these fights, and if he has the Aegis, obviously that's no longer an option.
Yeah, and with that fight as well, Inquisitor finishes up his BKB. We've actually got a Wall Eater starting on what seems to be a Desolator. And, well, Lifestealer's still dead for another 25 seconds. Why not try to go for the high ground? Lincoln's pop. Sharfik, what are you doing there? The glaives. He won't die from it just yet, but he has to be very careful. He has an Aegis, obviously, but don't want to be burning through that just yet, as the tier 3 tower will fall. I mean, 12 health. Will either get denied or someone will snipe it with one hit later on, but deny it is. I mean, they get that off the back of just 2 kills. Pretty decent, to be honest. Pretty decent indeed.
They pick up a lot off of it. They grab that tier 3 tower and Roshan, and they don't even lose anyone to get the tier 3 tower. It got denied, but just having exposed barracks is so good when you have Nature's Prophet on your team. It makes it so that Empire really can't go for deep pushes now without having to be worried that Nature's Prophet is going to port in and try and go for some back doors.
The only downside is that it's the middle one.
Definitely, having one of the side lanes would have been better for them, but their option was the bottom lane from the Roche pit, and the tier 2 was still standing there. So it makes sense for them to go for the middle lane.
Yeah.
They just wanted to be able to put damage on the tier 3 as quickly as possible. It would be better if it were just like the bottom tier 3 gone, but it is what it is, and it's still a big advantage for them to take that.
Yep. With the BKB indeed ready, 1500 gold for the Doom to boost. We've got ourselves the Desolator for the Wind Ranger. We've got the Scythe of Ice and 4000 gold on the Nature's Prophet, who seems to be getting ganked right now. Resolution jumping in, they go for Inquisitor, the Hex is there. In comes the Cavalry, but it's too late. Sharfik loses his Aegis, the Doom's still dead. Has Bob back. We'll be back here in just a moment. Crystal Maiden can't get her freezing field off at all. Sharfik tries to make things happen. Goes for a Vortex up on Vanscore, who is still doomed up, but still not dying just yet. Sharfik goes down, this time for real. And he cannot buy back. He already did that. Nobody of Empire went down on that bottom lane. That was quite the massacre, and I think Empire can actually take a tier 3 tower of their own off the back of this one, because Storm Spirit cannot buy back. And with Doom and Nature's Prophet the only ones up, they can't really make anything happen.
Not having either the Storm or the Wind Ranger for 40 seconds still is going to mean that this tower is definitely going down. They might even be able to take barracks depending on how hard they want to force it. And if Inquisitor gets picked off again, he already used his buyback.
Yeah, maybe Cut for KM is trying to split push. Look at this. This is a support silencer forcing a Nature's Prophet away. And Nature's Prophet sitting on 17k net worth, Vanscore sitting on 10k net worth, but the difference, it's just quite insane. Global Silence actually comes out because he still wants to get that kill. I'm thinking he can actually get that. He has another 4-staff maybe soon. Cat for KM won't be able to TP. Nah, he can be fine. He's fine. They did take all of the racks bottom, of course. I mean, no surprise there. But at least they didn't lose anything in the mid lane.
They don't give up any more in the mid, but yeah, it's not looking good for aSpera. They once again thought, for some reason they expect that all these ganks are coming out with only a couple heroes, but Empire's been running around as 5 quite a bit and catching aSpera out, getting these really awkward initiations from aSpera where Storm Spirit kind of runs into the entire team, tries to do something, gets silenced and killed. There's so many good disables up on the side of Empire right now that Storm can't reliably just ball lightning in and out, and that leads to his death. And once he's going down, aSpera really doesn't have that much going on for them.
Would you say that's because of their draft or because of the way they laned or played this?
I think it's a little bit of both. Their draft could have worked out if they got aggressive really early and were able to get the pickoffs that they wanted to, but they were kind of just trading kills for a long time. They were taking map objectives with the towers down, but it wasn't building them the gold lead I think they needed. And Empire, with that silencer last pick, just had such powerful team fight that I don't know that it was ever going to be a reliable option for aSpera to just say 5-on-5 gaming.
That's true. Empire has gone mid again, while aSpera's smoke failed. The Lifestealer infested Resolution might be looking for something more for the side of Empire. They would only be able to find the Crystal Maiden or Doom though. But I guess they should be happy with the tier 2 tower. That's the last outer tower standing on the side of aSpera. And that would open up the rest of the base. And that means that only one fight needs to go to Empire when they're at the right place at the right time, and then they won't have the game. Nice Shackle coming out, but that's not going to be one that people can follow up on. And actually, Wally, they're staying too close. Wow. He felt that one. Open wounds. Inquisitor still has an Abyssal Blade. Can still use it. Doesn't do so though. Sharvik jumping himself in, just slowing Silent down. Doesn't want to overextend. Rightfully so.
He's had trouble with that thus far this game. He's trying to go in a little too far and getting picked off immediately. He can't afford to now. This is going to be their last base defense if they end up losing it.
Yep. Sharvik already silenced up. Lich Ultimate bouncing around. That's Timbersaw getting the kill. Crystal Maiden picked up as well. Inquisitor turns on his BKB, but only to use it to run back to his fountain. And there is now only 2 heroes left alive. Once again, Doom and Nature's Prophet. Feels like a deja vu, but they are not able to defend their throne, and they know it too. They call the GG. They tap out. Empire will win this game here in StarLadder Star Series Day 6, Game 1. And aSpera will have to suffer the loss.
It was a pretty close game for a long time. A lot of fights going back and forth, but it just felt like it was going to slip further and further out of aSpera's control as it went on, and that's really what happened.
Yeah. I have to say, I mean, aSpera, I like their idea. It's nice enough, but they really needed a bit of a carry. I think that's my conclusion. They had to have some kind of plan if Sharvik's Storm Spirit didn't carry them through the pub way. We are gonna jump ourselves into the second game. It will be Alliance taking on Virtus Pro, so stick with us, because I don't think you want to miss that one.